This is not the world's finest Capocollo, but it is important, at least to me, because it is my Capocollo, my first Capocollo. And considering how simple the process was to bring this about, considering the lack of attention that you can give something like this and still net a undeniably delicious and beautiful result, I'm excited to share how this came to be with you, to hopefully inspire you into your own world of whole muscle curing. What is incredible about all this is that there really is only two ingredients involved: meat and salt. You could call time an ingredient as well, but that's it. And even if you explain this scientifically, the results can only be described as magical. You start with a raw piece of meat. You put a little bit of salt on it. You hang it in a cool garage, and months later, it is now safe to eat and orders of magnitude more delicious. I sadly failed to record the first steps in this, but virtually all I did was I took the copa, which is a long tubular muscle, as you can see, that exists in the shoulder of the pig. I coated it with salt on the outside and shook off the excess, and I added a lot of spices that were interesting to me, such as Spanish smoked paprika and red pepper flakes. And then I let the salt do its osmosis thing for 4 or 5 days. That took care of the actual curing process, and now it was just a matter of aging and drying. And as you can see, I used the help of a collagen wrap because I have a fairly arid environment here in Montana, and this will help it to not lose too much moisture too fast. And then it was here in the garage, in a cool environment. The humidity varied all over the place, but that didn't really matter. It still would produce something excellent. And here it is, a few months later. You can get all technical with this, about weights and how much water it needed to lose and how to know when it's ready. But for me, it was a matter of feel and especially a matter of smell. I've tasted the real thing, so I knew what I was after. And once it smelled right, and once it felt right, then I considered it was ready. This being my first time, as I cut this open, I was a little surprised to learn that I think I was actually a little premature. It was softer inside than I would have liked. As you're going to see when I try to cut this, it looks quite nice, but it was just moister in the center than I really wanted. And as I tried to cut it, it more had the consistency of something like a pastrami than the more harder, kind of translucent dryness that I knew was what I was actually after. It was completely safe to eat at this point, and actually was delicious enough, but I knew it needed more time. So I just hung it up for another few weeks. While it was aging for a few more weeks, I was doing some cold smoking and realized, wow, this would be a fantastic experiment to just throw it there in the cold smoker for 8 hours or so and see how the taste of one that was outright smoked compared to one that just had the smoked paprika on it. And here is the final result. A little drier, a little firmer. The taste is of a sweet ham taken off in the direction of a cheese. Salty, smoky, and with those highlights of the pepper flakes and the smoked paprika. Here in the United States, you literally cannot buy this in the stores. It is near impossible to get a product like this approved by the government to sell. So if I were to sell some of this, I would be violating all sorts of laws. And that's a tragedy because people have been eating things like this safely since time immemorial. There are no laws, however, for sharing this amongst friends and neighbors. And this is exactly what I'll do with this. For those people who know the good stuff and the real stuff when they taste it.